Colonial Schools by Brooke Rhoads. This presentation will outline the various models of education within the 13 colonies. The first English settlement arrived in what we know as Massachusetts in 1630. Upon the establishment of settlements across the 13 colonies, communities set up schools based on various religious and socioeconomic factors. The colonies can be divided into three categories based on region: the New England colonies, the Mid-Atlantic colonies, and the Southern colonies. All three groups shared the same educational model, though, the dual-track system. This system, which they brought over from Europe, separated students by socioeconomic class. The wealthy boys attended Latin grammar schools, where they were prepared for college, while girls and poor boys went to primary schools, where only the basics of education were taught, along with a heavy emphasis on religion. First, we will discuss New England schools. The New England colonies were made up of Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Hampshire, and Rhode Island. New Englanders were the most influential in establishing the educational ideals of the 17th century. Puritan schools strongly aligned curriculum with the Protestant Bible. The Puritans believed in stressing core values such as religion, punctuality, honesty, obedience, and hard work in order to create a more dutiful, pious citizen. And the way to ensure this was to practice strict discipline, which included corporal punishment. This is an illustration of a student receiving corporal punishment in a Protestant school. Spare the rod and spoil the child. This phrase, which comes from Proverbs 13:24, represents the Puritan belief that the Lord disciplines those he loves. This was also the model of the disciplinary system for Puritan schools. The next group of colonies is the Middle Atlantic, where we will view their unique school systems. The Mid-Atlantic was a much more culturally and religiously diverse bunch made up of Dutch reformists, Germans, and Quakers, just to name a few. The colonies include New York, New Jersey, Delaware, and Pennsylvania. These colonies had two specific types of schools: Quaker and private schools. First, we will discuss private schools. In these colonies, both types of schools were structured quite differently than Puritan schools. In New York specifically, after becoming a major commercial port, private, for-profit schools began to flourish. These private venture schools, as they were called, offered more than just writing, reading, and arithmetic. They taught navigation, surveying, bookkeeping, Spanish, French, and geography. In Pennsylvania, Quaker schools were opening. These schools were unique for their time in that they welcomed all children, including Native Americans and blacks. Much like the New York schools, they also offered a variety of classes, including crafts and agriculture. Quaker schools were also unique in that they did not practice corporal punishment. They were instead very gentle with students. The Middle Atlantic colonies' ethnic, language, and religious diversity influenced education. It is clear the diversity among the community created a very atypical educational atmosphere. The final category of colonial schools is Southern. These colonies include Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. These communities differ from those in the North primarily due to their rural surroundings and great disparity between the wealthy and the poor. As previously stated, the citizens of the colonies inhabited both ends of the socioeconomic spectrum. Because of this, the education afforded to students depended greatly on their family's income. Children of plantation owners received usually private educations through tutors, while white non-slave owning students, as well as slaves, were not given many opportunities for school. Girls were also severely limited in their opportunities. While this fact rang true throughout all 13 colonies, it was most apparent in the South. This system of religiously led, dual-track education is no longer in place today. A few of the principles are still in effect, though. Many of the values of the colonists are values we hold dear today. Schools still encourage hard work and a respectful tone. We also teach many of the same subjects as reading, writing, and arithmetic. We also teach similar liberal arts subjects, such as art and geography, just like the private and Quaker schools. American education continues to emphasize the relationship between education and economic productivity. We also stress civic responsibility and prepare students to one day enter the workforce. We even share some of the same types of laws. In 1642, a law was passed in Massachusetts requiring parents to ensure that children learn how to read and learn the principles of religion and other civic responsibilities. That's very similar to laws that we have today. In conclusion, while the dual-track system may have been eliminated following the rise of democracy and a change in economics, the colonial schools were very influential in building the foundation for American education.